We'll wait just one moment to just let a few more people in. Should we go ahead and begin?
Sure. Good.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the SABA North America emergency webinar on H-1Bs and the latest proclamation that just came out last night. We're here today to discuss the many ways that this might affect employees and employers. But before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lalitha Alladi, and I'm the president-elect for SABA North America, and I'm an immigration attorney at Alladi Law.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rohit Biswas. I'm also an immigration attorney. I'm the co-chair of the Immigration Committee for SABA NA. I'm also the VP of Advocacy for SABA NA. So we are here to deliver some pointers for you guys.
So as I mentioned before, the topic is the H-1B Proclamation that I'm sure many of you already have heard about. It came out just yesterday, and therefore this is an informal session. This did not require hours of planning just yet. Instead, we're trying to give you this information as soon as we can. And so we're just going to keep this informal. The following is also not legal advice. Rather, we just want to go through the different ways that this might affect individuals and for you to consider this to decide how you may want to have a conversation with your attorneys. So that could mean that you are going to seek guidance from your own attorney or from your employer's attorney, depending on your situation. We did issue a statement at 8 a.m. this morning because we wanted to make sure that we responded to this. So you can go to our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. Our statement is available there for you. This session will also be recorded, but please note that this is evolving minute by minute. So while it is being recorded, if this is being watched later, this is our understanding of the proclamation as of this moment. So with that, Rohit?
Thanks, Lalitha. Yeah, so as Lalitha mentioned, this is evolving and kind of ever evolving, ever present. But before we get into what the proclamation says, we just want to give you a little context of what the H-1B is. As you may or may not know, the H-1B is reserved for specialty occupation workers. That means that it requires at least a bachelor's degree in a technical expertise or specialized field. So really, this is a visa for really specialty occupation workers that, the government kind of attracts with this kind of visa. The structure of payment is a prevailing wage. So there's 4 levels of prevailing wage that the government sets out for the H-1B for each job category. And this is based on statistics and data. So that's the H-1B kind of in a really small nutshell. Now, what's the proclamation, right? The proclamation basically states, and like Lalitha said, we're just reading off the plain language of the proclamation at this point. It states that a fee of $100,000 will be assessed to those entering the U.S. on H-1B. So that's kind of what the proclamation reads as. We are aware that there are reports on X from possibly the White House or other news reports. Right now, we're not able to comment on that. We can only comment on the proclamation. And so we're kind of going to go forward on that at this time and assess for a variety of situations what there is to do and what there is not to do. So there's 4 situations. If you're on H-1B and you're in the United States, if you're outside of the United States on H-1B, if you're in the US, selected in the lottery, or outside of the US, coming in for H-1B. And Lalitha, do you want to take it away?
Sure. And also one thing to note is SABA North America is very well aware that this is going to affect many South Asians, which is why we wanted to address this right away. Over 70% of H-1B holders are Indian, and then there are, of course, more South Asians than just Indians. So this will affect more than 70% of H-1B holders in some way. The first scenario that we wanted to walk you through is if you're in the United States and you already have an H-1B, so you're already on an H-1B status. Our understanding of reading this is that while technically it sounds like you may not be affected, and that is also what you'll see on social media as well, we still suggest that you be extra cautious and not travel outside of the US because this situation is evolving. Right now, we are waiting for either a second proclamation or something that will actually provide us with more guidance, something more concrete than social media posts. So if you're in the United States already on an H-1B, it's not an entry into the US, but if you leave the United States, then we're concerned that possibly someone at the border, CBP, could try to say that this is an entry into the US on an H-1B and interpret it differently. So we want to be very cautious in suggesting that you not exit the United States, do not consider international travel at the moment.
Yeah, and we don't really know how they're going to administer this yet, right? Because I didn't mention, but it starts at 12 a.m. today, right? So at 12:01, this goes into effect. So right now we have about 7 hours for anyone who's trying to come in to come in. But after that, we don't know yet how they're going to administer it. So we're kind of just trying to give you the proclamation as it reads, and tomorrow at 12:01, we'll see how it goes. So the second, scenario is that I'd mentioned was outside the US on an H-1B. So if you're outside right now and you can enter prior to 12:01, we would suggest taking that flight and coming in. If you cannot and you have travel tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday, we would recommend waiting for hopefully an injunction or another proclamation to give us more definition on the matter. Right now, like I said, we can't really see how they're going to administer it, but at the same time, there might be an injunction in the next day, right? And when there is that injunction, or if there is an injunction, use that opportunity to come into the United States. So that's what we're saying for outside the United States and you're on H-1B.
Correct. The third scenario is if you're already in the United States, you were selected in the lottery this year, and you had applied for that H-1B to be a change of status. Most likely you are on an F-1 visa and you applied for a change of status. So if you're in that scenario, we believe that since you've already received most likely an approval notice for your H-1B, that already came with an I-94. So you already have been admitted to the United States and you have valid status because your I-94 is current. So with that in your hand, it's best, again, not to travel internationally because right now you have the documents you need to keep your status in the United States. And so it's important that you sort of protect it and not exit the United States until there is further guidance.
And Lalitha, would you change status or anything, or just wait for some guidance right now?
I would wait for guidance, just
Right.
hold and wait to
Yeah.
see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last scenario that we'll speak about is if you're outside the United States and you're on consular notify and you haven't gotten an H-1B, you're waiting for your H-1B visa, or you have it and you're going to come in tomorrow. Again, we do advise waiting until we get some more clear definition on maybe another proclamation or how this will be administered. Because right now, all we have to go on is on the proclamation. So we would recommend waiting to see if there is an injunction or further action from the administration.
And I think that you and I both agree that this may have been the original intent of this proclamation is just for scenario 4, for those who are not already on H-1B and who are looking to go get that visa stamp and enter the United States. But we're going through all 4 scenarios and exercising caution because we cannot be sure just yet. So if this is the exact intended scenario for which this proclamation was written, that would mean, you're coming back from the consulate, but when you're entering, they're expecting that $100,000 fee to already be
Bucket
paid.
4 is what they're trying to, catch and get that $100,000 fee. And on top of that, correct if I'm wrong, we don't know how they're going to collect that fee yet.
Right.
We don't know how it's going to be administered. There was not a lot of definition in the proclamation. So we're still waiting on those details, but those details should hopefully come in the form of a proclamation or some sort of other official guidance.
Correct.
Within the proclamation, there's also talk of a natural interest exception. So if it's in the national interest for you to enter the United States, there might be an exception. Now, previously, when there was travel bans with this administration, there was, maybe a committee or a group of people reviewing these natural interest exceptions. Again, we don't know how they're administering these natural interest exceptions. I wouldn't rely on those right now, especially if you're traveling tomorrow after 1201. I wouldn't rely on an NIE, a natural interest exception, right now because we don't know what the grounds are, what the basis is. Usually they'll give us, okay, if you're critical infrastructure, healthcare, something like that, but we don't really know that yet. So I know it's a little, heart-wracking and racing, but we ask that, we're going to continue to monitor everything and we're going to come out with releases as we see them.
Correct. And they were also very clear in stating in this proclamation that they're going to be implementing certain catch-alls for those who are trying to enter the United States on a B2 visa, and then perhaps later changing status once they're in the United States in order to avoid the $100,000 fee. So the scenario that they're trying to address is, again, that fourth scenario we were talking about, where you're outside the US, you were selected in the lottery, you have an H-1B approval, but you're waiting to go to the consulate after October 1st to get a visa stamp. But instead, now that you know that there's going to be a $100,000 fee, they are concerned that individuals will pivot and they'll try to get a B2 visitor visa, enter the United States, and then later change status to an H-1B. They are trying to put a stop to that right now by already addressing that in the proclamation. So we just wanted you to be aware that when you're trying to strategize and determine, how to go about things, that this is already being considered by the administration.
Yeah, and look, this is a evolving matter. It's changing minute by minute. So we're monitoring it and we want to support you and the community in general. And so we'll do our best to be on top of this. As Lalitha mentioned in the outset, none of this is legal advice. If you have a specific situation, you should talk to your attorney or employer's attorney to figure out the best case strategy that's best for you. Other than that, we're going to stay close to the ground on this and make sure that you get updates as we see them, and we'll release statements as we see official proclamations and statements coming out.
Correct. If you have any questions for SABA North America, you can reach out to Executive Director at sabanorthamerica.com.
I think it's in the chat too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. So we wish everyone the best.
At Mona Shah.
Yes, please reach out to Executive Director Mona Shah at that email address that was provided. But otherwise, we wish everyone the best right now, and we will continue to keep you updated. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.